Once upon a time in the ancient world, there was a great and mighty empire ruled by a mighty and not-so-wise king named Xerxes, also known as Ahasuerus. He ruled over 127 provinces, stretching from India to Ethiopia, and ruled over people with many different religions and cultures. And everyone was happy until the king wasn't happy. See, one night the king threw one of his really big parties, like 7 days of fancy food, drinks, and dancing. And he invited all the important people in the empire, along with his wife, the queen, Vashti. But after all that drinking, the king got a really crazy idea. He wanted all the queens in the empire to come out into the courtyard and show themselves to all these important guests, especially his wife, Queen Vashti, who refused to come. So the king got super mad. In fact, he got so mad that he took away Vashti's crown and title of queen, and she was never allowed to set foot in the palace again. Now, ever since the removal of Queen Vashti, the king couldn't sleep at night because he missed having someone beautiful sit beside him in the evenings. So he decided to hold a contest to find a new queen. And word got out throughout the whole empire, and people came from everywhere to participate. Among them was a young Jewish woman named Esther, who lived in the capital city of Shushan with her cousin Mordecai. Now Esther was really beautiful, not just inside, but out too. So when it was her turn to go see the king, she went all out with a fancy gown and a whole team of ladies to do her makeup. And sure enough, the king fell head over heels for her. He put the crown back on Vashti's head and made her the new queen, and she became very popular among the people. However, before taking on this new role, she told her cousin Mordecai, "Don't tell anyone that I'm Jewish," which he promised to keep secret. Then she went off to live in the palace and have the best life ever, complete with an awesome wardrobe, servants, and way better hair than Queen Vashti. Now, while all this was going on, there was another guy in the palace named Haman, and he was the king's right-hand man. He was super important and had a big ego. One day, he was walking around the palace, and he saw Mordecai sitting at the gate, but he didn't stand up when Haman walked by. Now, to Haman, this was a huge insult. And even though Mordecai probably didn't mean any disrespect to him, Haman was too proud to let it go. Instead, he wanted to get revenge and wipe out every single Jew in the kingdom. To do this, he had to play smart and act like he was totally cool with the king. So he went to King Xerxes and started buttering him up like crazy. He said how much he loved the king and how he would do anything for him. Then he dropped the bomb about Mordecai and told the king that this guy was causing trouble in the empire and had even tried to overthrow the king. But no one had told him yet. However, Haman told the king that he could take care of this problem for him. All he needed was permission to hang Mordecai on one of the big gallows that he had built for this purpose. The king agreed and signed the papers, making it official. But he didn't know that Mordecai was actually loyal to him and hadn't plotted against him at all, and he would have killed him for no reason. Oh man, things were going to get real messy, but not in the way you think. So Mordecai heard what was going on and was really scared. He was supposed to protect Esther, but how could he do that now? Well, he sent her a message saying, "Do not think that just because you're hiding in the palace with a fancy title that you're going to be safe. You got to do something." And then he explained everything to her. Then he wrote, "Who knows if perhaps you were made queen for just such a time as this?" And he encouraged her to do something fast. Otherwise, they might all be in big trouble. After reading the letter, Esther knew that she had to do something, but she was really scared. I mean, she risked her life by even reading the letter. If the king or anyone else in the palace found out that she was talking to him, it would cost her life. But she knew that she had to try. That same day, she put on a beautiful dress and went to the king without being called. Usually, if anyone went into the king's court without being summoned, they got put to death. But Esther was willing to take that risk. When the king saw her coming, he remembered how much he loved her and extended his golden scepter towards her, which meant that she didn't get killed. Instead, the king asked her, "My queen, why have you come? What do you want?" And Esther replied, "Your Majesty, I am afraid. Come to the banquet that I prepared for you, and please come with Haman as well." The king said, "Well, that sounds fun. I'll be there." And off they all went to the first banquet. During the party, Esther pretended to be cool and chill and totally didn't mention anything about the Jews. However, Haman was freaking out inside because he was like, "Uh-oh, Esther looks amazing and everyone loves her. Maybe I shouldn't have been such an evil jerk to those Jews." But then he thought, "Nah, screw that. I'm going to be a big shot in this empire one day, and then I'll show those stupid Jews who's boss." So he kept partying with the king until late at night. The next day, the king felt super hungover and had a serious case of the Mondays, so he decided to read through the royal records to help him feel better. And guess what he found? The very first thing he saw was Mordecai's name written in gold letters. It said that he had saved the king's life, but no one had given him any credit for it yet. The king was like, "Whoa, dude, I owe you one." So he sent some guys to get Mordecai, and he said, "Hey, come here. I need your help with something." And Mordecai was like, "Okay, I'm on my way." But secretly, he still had no idea what was going on. He just showed up wherever they told him to and did whatever they said. Meanwhile, Haman was getting ready for the second banquet that Esther had invited him to. But before he could go, the king called him over and said, "Get up, you big fat liar. Why did you hide from me that you hated Mordecai?" And Haman was like, "What are you talking about? I don't hate that guy. I love him." But the king was like, "Yeah, right, sure you do. I'm not buying it." So the king told Haman to get up right now and go to the second banquet with Mordecai and Esther. And even though Haman was freaking out inside, he had to follow the king's orders. When the time was right, Esther revealed her Jewish identity and told the king and Haman, "Those evil jerks who wanted to destroy me are none other than Haman's own people. They've thrown dice to decide which nation would get wiped out first, and guess what? We won. So they're planning to destroy us all." And then she told the king about everything that Haman had done. The king was super mad and even more disappointed in himself for listening to Haman instead of Mordecai. So he ordered Haman to build bigger gallows for Mordecai, and he got the executioner to do the dirty work. But then the king gave Mordecai a sweet new hat and a badge that said Hero of the Empire, and gave his seat to him. Then the king wrote a new decree giving the Jews permission to fight back against anyone who attacked them. So the Jews fought back and defeated their enemies. Everyone in the empire was happy because finally those arrogant jerks got what was coming to them. To celebrate this amazing victory, the Jews started a holiday called Purim, where they told stories about their brave Queen Esther and her cousin Mordecai, who saved their people from total annihilation, and they celebrated it for 8 days. And I can't blame them. I mean, who doesn't love a happy ending?